Most of us who know and play the MMO Club Penguin know of the rumor of tipping the iceberg. Well, I read a forum and one post of a moderator said that on a completely empty server, one can go on and tip the iceberg by themselves on a certain spot. Me, being a self-proclaimed mythbuster, decided to try it out. I went on a server named Iceberg, no pun intended, and headed to, well, the iceberg. As I joined the iceberg, I saw that there was a player there. I thought this was an empty server, so I was perplexed by this. When I clicked on the player card, it showed the penguin's name was 666. I dare not say the numbers in fear he might come back. He had an odd background. The background was a view of hell, showing flames and molten lava. His attire was a devil costume, complete with a trident. I checked the number of players on the server, and the list only had me on it, even after refreshing the list numbers of times. I thought this was some sort of bug, as in a player model data from hours or days before being submitted to the screen.
"Ye hath crossed a dangerous path, puny mortal,"
the player said. After the text disappeared, he said something else.
"You do not know the ancient tongue, you jester."
He said all this in Hebrew, and since I knew some Hebrew, I saw this as an insult. As my penguin waddled over to the awkward grabber game, a text popped up saying,
"You shouldn't have done that."
And all of the iceberg started rumbling and quaking, breaking the iceberg in half, leaving me with 666. I waddled over to the edge of the cracked iceberg, and 666 followed me. He said in English for the first time,
"Why are you running away from me?"
666 pulled out a knife and stabbed my penguin in its chest. Blood poured out, and I'm not talking about CGI. It looked like real blood. My penguin fell, and 666 kicked him into the cold water, leaving part of the water red with blood. My screen went haywire, but when it reset, it showed my penguin alive, but had stitches on its chest where the knife was struck. I was thirsty and creeped out, watching my back as I went to my refrigerator to get some water. I went back to my computer and saw that 666 was in the town with me. I typed in, "Why are you doing this to me?" And immediately he replied with,
"Because I like watching people suffer."
Trying to run away, I went to the gift shop. I saw blood and intestines spewed everywhere, with a severed penguin's head attached to the blow dryer. In the changing room, it showed the curtain open and showed numerous bodies strewn and severed all over. The screen went red and showed horrifying images of real mangled human body parts, and the computer caught fire. And as I ran to get the fire extinguisher, I heard a faint laughing noise coming from the computer. A few days later, I went back to my account. It said I was banned forever, all eternity, showing 666's model, replacing the moderator badge.
Back in 2005, Club Penguin had become one of the most popular MMO games of the year. The first penguin not associated with the game made their first account on October 25th, 2005. The username was Timmy95. He enjoyed the game very much and told all his friends about it. He was a popular penguin, making new friends every day and night. His life outside of Club Penguin was a miserable one. He was shy around the people he knew and wasn't that popular. He thought he could live the life he always dreamed of in this video game. One day, after February of 2006, Club Penguin's site had crashed. Many players believed it was a hacker. Timmy hated this every bit. He thought maybe it was a bug or something at first. He refreshed the pages many times to see maybe it would fix it. Surprisingly, it did. He logged into his account like normal and headed off into the island. But something was different. It felt different. There was no one. Everywhere he went, it was just him. No one else. He thought it was mysterious, seeing how the user bar was full of people online. He saw an orange text box appear and said, "Welcome to the party." Timmy thought this was some joke. But after he exited the box, the background of the island was in flames, like if it was hell or something. Timmy was in fear. He tried to log off, but his computer didn't let him. He kept trying and trying, but it didn't respond. Another box appeared and said, "Leaving so soon? The party has just begun." Timmy tried exiting the browser and eventually tried turning his computer off, but it didn't let him. At this point, he could barely breathe. He had no idea what was going on before him. A third text box showed up, saying, "You and I shall be here forever." Timmy was in panic. He didn't know what to do anymore. No one heard of Timmy 95 after that. 3 weeks later, his profile had come online once again. No one remembered him or who he was. He wasn't popular anymore. The fame he so much desired left him, like it was stolen from him. He went into a state of depression, and it was reported in a local newspaper that a young boy committed suicide in his bedroom, right beside his computer, with a long slit across his throat. It is still rumored that players see his profile still online. Many penguins report of being missing or never coming back on because of this haunted profile. The first case appeared in late 2006, when a popular girl stopped coming online ever again, with no goodbyes to anyone. Friends had only said that she was talking about having an awkward encountering with a penguin called Timmy 95. These disappearances continued into 2007 and even 2013. I'm only writing this to warn you before it's too late. I encountered him just a week ago. Don't bother trying to save me. He's already gotten me. If you see a penguin in a suit with green eyes, log off as fast as you can and wait to go back online. Or else, he will get you too.
I had just came home from a hard day's work at school. I wanted to finish my homework so I could go on the computer. An hour had passed and I finally finished all my work. I decided to make a snack and get onto the computer for the rest of the night. I thought, what better than to go on Club Penguin? Hopefully some of my friends would be online to hang with. I typed in the URL to get to the webpage, but apparently I couldn't connect to the website. I was starting to think it was down, but I wanted to make sure before I went to do something else. I decided maybe if refreshing the page would help it respond. Unfortunately, it didn't, but I wasn't going to give up that easily. I tried refreshing the page plenty of times to see if maybe it would come around. After about the 13th try, I finally saw something. A web page. The Club Penguin website finally appeared, but looked very odd. The main page was creepy looking. The penguins on there, instead of being happy, were sad, as if something bad had happened. And the worst was that it looked like they were looking at me. What did they want with me, I wondered. I just simply ignored it and went to the Play Now screen. The loading screen was very creepy. The chef that was there wasn't doing anything, just looking at me, as if he was staring into my soul. I logged in and went to the server list. It only had one server, damned. I decided to click on it and log in. The atmosphere was dark and didn't feel normal at all. There was no one around but me, and there was music playing in the background, but if it was in reverse, making it sound demonic. I decided to look around to see if there was anyone, but found nothing. It wasn't until I went to the dock and saw a penguin sitting alone. I decided to go talk to him and ask what's going on. "Hello?" I said. He didn't answer. Until a minute later, he responded with, "Fresh meat." I was confused until he spontaneously mutated. He turned into a demon-looking creature, making horrifying noises. I was terrified at what I saw. I teleported to the plaza to get away from it. I was puzzled on what the hell was going on. Right when I was about to log out, an orange box appeared saying, "Keep us company." Out of nowhere, it appeared again, except there were multiple ones, all coming towards me. There was nothing I could do, and the game made me watch every second of it as my penguin started to mutilate, making gibberish sounds. I never felt so scared in my life. The screen turned red, and a giant face of the beings appeared from nowhere, and I blacked out. I woke up the next morning by my mother. She said she found me passed out on the floor and put me to bed. I decided to check the website again on my computer, and it loaded. The first try. Everything seemed to be back to normal. I asked one of my friends what happened with Club Penguin last night. They were confused and said nothing, and that they were on normal as usual. I decided to keep my experience to myself so they wouldn't think I was a lunatic. But honestly though, what happened that night? There were many great places in Club Penguin to hang out with friends. There was the coffee shop and even the dance club.
Although there was one that was one of the best, which was the pizza parlor. It was great for socializing and meeting new friends. It even gave many people the chance to roleplay as workers there. However, there was one penguin back in 2007 that was different from all the others. His name was Waddle Prince 459, and he always had one role as a chef. He would dress in that pizza apron and chef's hat and toss around the dough and make the pizzas. Everyone loved him for his dedication to the role. He would come every day just so he could serve the people his food. One day, I decided to pick a role. It was hard to choose since everyone else chose all the others. Waddle Prince, however, came up to me. He said he needed some help with getting his pizzas out and asked me if I wanted to be his culinary assistant. I agreed and I took his offer. For the next month, we had made pizzas together and we started to become good friends. During our time working, he had told me he was actually a moderator for the game. He said his role was to teach other penguins to have more fun on the game doing things like this. Despite how nice he was, though, he kinda had a dark side to him. Whenever someone mocked him or said that his pizza sucked, he would ban them. No one would see or hear of them ever again. No one knew why. One day, Waddle Prince did something that would change everything. He decided to give me a key to a secret room in the pizza parlor. He said he would tell me what it was when the time was right. I was starting to think it was the kitchen, maybe. I decided to wait until he got offline, until midnight. When he was finally offline, I made my way to the pizza parlor. I decided to see if I was right about the hidden room. Turns out I was. I had entered, and what I saw was the most horrifying and disturbing thing I've ever seen in my life. The kitchen was covered in pools of blood and guts. I wanted to vomit right now. But the most horrifying thing was what I saw on the counter. It was of a penguin, a very familiar one. It looked like the one that insulted Waddle Prince earlier today. I couldn't believe what I had saw. Out of nowhere, a penguin appeared. It was him. I started getting goosebumps when I saw him, and I was starting to get nervous. He had said hello and welcomed me to the kitchen. I asked him what the hell this was. He said that this is the place where he truly makes the pizzas he gives. He started to have fun with his power by turning them into ingredients. He started to explain how he took the penguins he hated and butchered them into his pizzas. I couldn't stand what he was telling me. Those poor people, I thought. You're going to regret this. Disney will hear about this, I told him. He replied saying, well, I wouldn't have told you if I was going to let you leave here. You see, my pizzas have been needing one more special ingredient. I was terrified. He pulled out a knife and started coming towards me. I decided to teleport out of there to the ski hill. I wanted to get far away from him as possible. I tried to log off, but it didn't let me. Maybe he disabled my log off button, I thought to myself. I decided to shut down my computer instead. I went back on the next night. He wasn't there. Apparently, no one saw him on that day. I asked Disney if they knew where he was, and they said they had no idea, and he had resigned his position as moderator. I laid in my bed thinking of where he could have gone. Out of nowhere, my doorbell had rang. I jumped in terror. I decided to check it out, and I went to the door. I opened it to find a young man who had a box in his hand saying, "Your pizza is here."
My 8-year-old sister wanted me to play her favorite game, Club Penguin, with her. She was so excited that I bet she wanted to see me create my penguin. After lunch, I went to my laptop to create a penguin. My sister followed me to my room since I didn't know how to create a penguin. I let her in. She got me to the Club Penguin website. Then she left the room for me to do the rest of the work. And then I clicked Create a Penguin. My penguin's color was orange, my favorite color since I was little. The username I had chose was paperplate16152. "Did you finish creating your penguin?" she asked. "Yes, I did," I replied back to her. "Meet me on the server Flurry," she said. But when I got to the server list, Flurry wasn't there at all, and it was replaced by a server named Doom. Since I was a really curious person, I went on Doom, without a second thought. The town didn't look normal at all. There were footprints of blood. I hoped that this was just some stupid glitch, and that I would be able to get back on Flurry when I log off. Then, the log off button was hidden. I waddled to the dock, hoping that it was going to be normal, but sadly it wasn't. The water was replaced with blood. When I tried closing the tab, a pop-up came. It said, "You can't leave this server at all." I was about to scream, but I didn't want to. There were tons of dead bodies of penguins and their puffles. When I went to the beach, the blood was more darker than the blood on the dock. I was about to log off, but the button disappeared. I saw the dead bodies of Gary, Antarctic, Sensei, Rockhopper, Rookie, the Jetpack Guy, and tons more penguins. Another pop-up appeared on my screen. It said, "You can't hide anymore." Right after that, another pop-up appeared on my screen. It said, "You're next." I was hoping this was all a dream. I pinched myself. Nothing happened. It was not a dream at all. It was real. I waddled to the ski hill. There was another penguin there too. His name was Crimson Red King. He waddled closer and closer to my penguin in the blink of an eye. "It's too late to run. It's too late to hide as well," he said in a dark, evil voice. He got a knife from his pocket and aimed it at my penguin's beak. Another pop-up appeared on my screen. It said, "Open wide." My penguin opened its beak, and he stabbed mine's throat. My penguin then went to sleep, and when it woke up, there was a pitch-black void. My penguin was losing his face and flippers. The last pop-up came, and it said, "No more is paper plate." I finally logged off from that thing. I got a couple of nightmares from that experience. I told my sister the story, and she quit Club Penguin. "Mom, please cancel my Club Penguin membership," she asked Mom. "Why?" said my mom. "Big Brother told me a story. Plus, it's getting boring." she replied. A day later, Disney called us and told us the story of Crimson Red King. He was an insane hacker who wanted revenge on them. They didn't tell us the reason. Thank God they called us for that. So, if you see Doom on your server list, quit Club Penguin forever. If you don't, Doom will appear on your server list for the rest of your life. Please, just take my advice. The year was 2012, and the famous online game Club Penguin had reached an enormous sum of registered accounts. Seeing this, Lance Prieb and Lane Merrifield, the game's makers, needed new ideas for the following events of the game, since several parties such as the Water Medieval Party were almost equal to those of past years. I was a programmer for Online Studios Disney in Canada, studies that were developed and distributed to Club Penguin. I enjoyed watching all these people work since I have always loved children, cartoons, and MMORPGs, and Club Penguin was a beautiful combination of them. It happens that one day Lane Merrifield sent me the following letter. I'll see you tomorrow in my office. Sincerely, Billy Bob. Billy Bob was his penguin's name. It made me excited, and the next morning I was with him in his studies. In his office were 5 other people for my meeting. Merrifield said they were preparing the supposedly best event that the game has had, and while that party was scheduled for the following year, needed to prove once and for all if something needed fixing or something they needed to destroy. Merrifield told 6 of us to give it a try on a private server called Come Play. Also mentioned was that the server will only be open at midnight. According to him, it could be entered through any computer by searching for the deeper on the web, also known as deep web, and to avoid anyone other than the 6 of us. We needed to connect during an hour where almost no one goes to that part of the web. I asked Lane if it was the Club Penguin beta, where they test minigames, but he told me it was very different than that. After all that explaining, he gave us a sheet where it came with a link. 10 minutes before midnight, I decided to connect. My wife slept in our bedroom, and I was on the computer in the other room. I wrote in the left navigation bar. Immediately, my computer's antivirus detected a threat. I did not care and continued to reach a page similar to Club Penguin's homepage. It had a blog with no paragraphs, things to do, partners, etc. I then saw the play button next to them. I gave it a click and spawned in with my penguin. Yes, I have one. And when you reach the part of choosing a server, I saw that there was only one, which was Come Play, just as Mr. Lane Merrifield said. When I entered the server, the game's speed was slower than normal. My penguin appeared in the middle of the town where the dance, coffee, and clothing store was. I realized that there were no icons for the newspaper or moderators, but only the chat, spy phone, and map were shown. Another strange thing is that it was not decorated, since it was supposedly a celebration, and every party here has decorations. The only thing special I saw was that the sky was cloudy and a part of it was night. For some strange reason, this place was badly drawn, as if it was done by hand, and the image quality was terrible. It only had my normal penguin, however, it appeared with a sad face in its player card. As I saw no one connected yet, I decided to walk around the island. However, all the rooms had a terrible quality and were done by hand, similar to the town. It was terrible among the buildings and were as bad as outside. I also tried to play several minigames like catching waves. However, there was some kind of bug that prevented me from playing them. Anyway, I decided to go to my igloo, which was completely empty. I did not have my puzzles and my furniture. It kind of bothered me a bit, but then I decided to return to the city. I was surprised to see that no one had arrived yet, thinking maybe I should disconnect. But then something strange happened. My spy phone rang, and it made me discover an anonymous message saying, "Come to the EPF." Surely they already arrived, I thought. When I reached the EPF hangout, strange things started happening. I saw written in red on the walls saying, "Come play," and an arrow pointing to the door that I had never seen before. The room was much too slow to load, and I wish they had never added it because I saw something horrible. The room was dark, and there was a door to take me back to the EPF. Only one door led me to an even deeper room, showing "Come play" written above, not making me desire to go there. That strange room was darker than the previous one, but I reached the other 5 penguins sent by Lane, who were drawn in a horrific way, mutilated in a pool of blood. I was so stupid I decided to click on one of them. In his player card was the image of the penguin's owner, shown eyeless, skinned, and lying in a kind of asphalt. I wanted to throw up, and as I closed the player card, I clicked the rest. They contain images of aborted fetuses, dead children, and abused animals, combined with characters in Club Penguin, dead and covered in blood. I could see Rockhopper, Antarctic, Rookie, Cadence, Sensei, the Penguin Band, and others. Everyone seemed to have been killed horribly. I came across one of the player cards showing Gary, who had a smile. Not evil, just average. Gary was full of blood, and on the wall of his laboratory wrote, "Come play." Gary looked at me and started branching out towards me. I then decided to unplug my computer. I went outside for some fresh air. Big mistake. I heard my wife scream, and I ran into my house to see what happened. Unfortunately, it was too late. My wife was dead, and her blood had written on the wall, "Come play." I assumed the murderer had fled out the window. I decided to call the police. As the officers arrived, I told them the truth. It made it look like a bloody madhouse. Since then, I keep dreaming of that event that happened and that damn picture of Gary with the phrase, "Come play." Even though I escaped from that site, I still didn't know anything about what happened to the 5 others that should have been online. All I know was that Lane Merrifield had resigned from Club Penguin. Where the hell could they have been?